When you get to your destination, where will you be? What I mean is, where will our dreams take us? What do we want to achieve? What are our goals? Perhaps we are like that salesman who was as lost as a needle in a haystack and approached the store in a rural community to ask for directions. The store owner, with a wink at his friends, replied to the lost man, "You can't get there from here." Is that the way you think about your goals and dreams in life? Do you say to yourself, "I can't get there from here"? If the answer is yes, I can predict that with that kind of attitude, you probably will. Let me give you 3 suggestions that will help you realize your dreams. First, don't fear to dream. Determine what you want in life. Scientific research clearly shows that dreaming is of fundamental importance to emotional stability. Daydreaming is equally important for you if you hope to develop a modicum of your potential. Second, you must discover what obstacles you will encounter on the way to your goals so that you can make a plan of action to overcome them. Remember, if there were nothing standing between you and your desires, it would be easy to see them fulfilled, and they would most likely be unimportant. Also, as strange as it may seem, you must decide if you are willing to enjoy the benefits you will get once you have realized your goals. Third, don't be afraid of failure. Everyone has failures. What separates the failures from the productive and fulfilled individuals is how they deal with setbacks and setbacks. Happy the man who dreams and is willing to do whatever it takes to realize his dreams. Don't be afraid to start. The climb is very likely to encounter obstacles, but you are more likely to reach the top. Take some time to imagine where you will be in 1, 5, or 10 years and analyze what you are doing to get there. If people could focus on their goals as hard as they do their worries, success would be assured. Now I want you to listen, take note, and learn the following 10 Essentials for Success by Marshall Field. I know that you, like me, want to make your mark in this life. One way to get seriously on your way to achieving that goal is to adopt Marshall Field's 10 guidelines for success. By the way, Marshall was one of the world's most successful businessmen, so his observations are worthy of the utmost credibility. No. 1. The value of time. Don't waste it. No. 2. The value of perseverance. Never give up. No. 3. The value of hard work. Don't be lazy. No. 4. The dignity of simplicity. Do not be complicated. No. 5. The value of character. Do not be dishonest. No. 6. The power of kindness. Do not be heartless. No. 7. The call of duty. Do not be irresponsible. No. 8. That the streets needed to be lit up. He hung a pretty lantern at the front door of his house and made sure the window and door panes were clean and the wick was well trimmed. Soon Franklin's friends did the same thing. Eventually the people of Philadelphia were ready to light up the streets of their city. Franklin was so convincing that even his most well-written statements were not enough to convince people. Which brings me to my question: how do you try to persuade other people? By scare tactics? By getting them to agree with you? If so, it's likely that you haven't been successful very often, and when you have, you've probably left a mess of damage and bad feelings behind. Remember that someone, maybe someone very important to you, is watching and learning from what you do. You are a great model. The best way to build character is not with lectures, but with daily examples of what to do. Leo B. Good luck. Paris was the place where the French Tennis Open took place. She had everything to lose when she played Martina Navratilova on stage. Martina was ranked number 1 in the world, and Kathy was ranked number 45. Kathy did not have a perfect record, but it was good. Martina, on the other hand, had never lost a match all year. In fact, she kept track of 36 wins in a row. She said she had won 90 rounds and only lost 3 to strong opponents like Chris Evert Lloyd and Pam Shriver. Kathy was only 17 years old when the match happened, and there were 16,000 people watching. As if all of these things weren't enough to ruin her game, There was one more thing. Kathy beat her opponent 6-4 in the first set. Maria won the second one 6-0. With the score tied 3-3 in the third set, Martina served. Everyone was shocked when Kathy won the set and the match. Kathy said, "I played to win," when asked about her plan, and I'm sure she won because she thought she would. Being sure of yourself while you wait is a great trait. There is strong proof that waiting with confidence is directly linked to success. Your success is directly linked to how sure you are in your own abilities. You will win if you plan for victory, expect victory, and believe in victory. You can be sure that you will win everything you do. Walter Bagehot said, "The greatest pleasure in life is to do what other people say we can't do." And what about complaints of what we've done? It's simple to tell other people they're wrong and blame them for our problems. But I want to warn you that constantly criticizing other people can cause cardialgia, which is sharp pain in the cardia, the area between the esophagus and the stomach that presses on the heart. This can eventually cause a heart attack. Criticism doesn't usually help us get anywhere. Work does. There's no point in criticizing the cow for being in the fields all day. It won't make her milk production go up or get her out of there. Cows are not easily upset when they are criticized. We could, however, take the cow out of the cornfield and tie her to a stake, or we could fence off the cornfield and reach our goal that way. Doing something about the problem instead of just talking about it or asking why other people aren't doing something about it is often the difference between success and failure. Instead of having long conversations, act on your thoughts. If you want to do something, don't talk about it. People who like and dislike you will both talk about it after you're done. Blount, George W. These are 2 ways to calm down and stay balanced. Every day, we all deal with worry and anxiety. Experts say that some stress is good for you, but too much stress makes us sleepless, tense, and angry, and it also raises our blood pressure. First, we need to figure out what is causing the stress. Then, here are 2 ways to deal with it. We might be having the most trouble today because we disagree with a family member or co-worker. We should talk about the problem for a while if this is true. Getting over your pride, facing the problem head-on, is the best thing that you can do. There is a good chance that the issue is not as bad as we think. It could just be a mistake. We need to stop the problem before it gets worse. It will cause us stress that we don't need if we let it grow in our thoughts. That's right. The Bible says, "Do not let the sun go down on your anger." On the second point, let's get away from our stress. Find a way to get away from the everyday noise every day, even if it's just for a short time. Maybe reading helps us feel better, or maybe prayer or relaxing makes us feel better. In just a few minutes, doing a sport like running, swimming, fast walking or riding can make you feel great. We are going to be shocked and happy with the findings. I hope these ideas will help you deal with the stress that comes with taking on a task or aiming for a goal. Things that are stressful should be dealt with right away, before they get worse and harder to control. Do whatever it takes to calm down. Reading, relaxing or working out are all good ways to do this. The hours will get better on their own if you pay attention to the minutes. Today, we're going to talk about some traits and actions that can help you make your life and relationships better, which will lead to better chances. The first thing is potentiality. Work on getting better at what you can do to make your life and the lives of those around you better. Your potential or skills are things you can and should work on improving. Remember that when we work on the sources, what makes the effects happen, we change the effects. You should work on your skills so that you can do more and better. If you want to inspire other people to do the same, remember that facts-based examples always work better than preaching. Second, be analytical and learn to separate your feelings and ego, especially when you are talking about things that need to be decided. We understand that it will be hard, but we believe it is possible. Third, learn to control yourself. You need to learn how to do the things you know you need to do, when you need to do them, and how long they take. We all know that making new, better habits isn't always easy, but it's one of the best ways to make our lives better. That's why you need to work on your self-discipline, because not having it is one of the main reasons why things don't go as planned. Fourth place went to focused planning and attention on what's important and other things that could be distracting. It's also important not to worry about who comes up with the best idea. Instead, focus on making sure the good idea grows and is used to get good results. Last but not least, surround yourself with people who are smarter and more talented than you. You don't have to meet them in person. There are lots of technologies that can help you connect with them. You will get more if you learn more. To improve your chances of success, you might want to become a master in a certain subject. We can learn new things every day thanks to the area of electronic media, which is always growing. This means that because there is so much information out there, it is getting harder and harder for one person to know everything there is to know about any one subject. So, if you become an expert in a certain important area, you can help your family, your neighborhood, or your business more. One example is that you might work in real estate. Things change so quickly in this business when it comes to money that one person can't keep up with it all. Pick a subject that interests you and is very important to you. Look into it from every possible angle. You can become an expert in your field by reading specialized magazines, cheap books on the subject, listening to audios, watching videos, and talking to people who are experts in the subject. This will help you make good decisions in your chosen field. Share your facts and let people know what you're up to. You will be able to do your tasks with more skill and quality now that you know more about them. By becoming an expert in a certain area and sharing what you know, you are making yourself more productive and making your work easier. Remember that if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want in life. Let's talk about fear. What about fear? What will happen if you get over your fear? The good or bad things that happen to us all can turn into habits. There is no doubt that a lot of people never succeed because they are scared to fail, that they never try. It's not always good to be afraid of failing. The following tips on how to get over your fear of failing might help you feel better so you can try your hardest to succeed. First, there are times when we have to push ourselves to do something. We just need to get back on track, grit our teeth, and keep going. We might have to give a speech, but we're so scared we can't even stand it. Well, it might feel good to start that speech, even though our legs are shaking and our teeth are chattering. Also, most of the people in the room won't be able to tell that we're scared. Second, let's start a job now instead of waiting for the right time. Let's begin right away, without waiting for the ideal conditions. We won't be able to reach our full potential if we wait for important events like Aunt Juana to leave, Juanito to solve his problem, a new mayor, governor, or president, new designs, or any other event that we can't control to happen before we start living our lives. We need to get over our fear of failing by having small wins. First, let's do the first thing. The first step is always the hardest part of a long trip. Face the things you're afraid of to get over your fears. No matter how good or bad a habit is, it starts out as dust and turns into thick lines over time. Some people say they don't have any money to spend, or even better, to invest. It's possible that you've heard it before, but you don't remember it well or give it the attention it deserves. Okay, now I want you to remember it, and I'll make sure you do because you think it's very important. At least for now, we all have the same amount of one important thing. It's always a good idea to spend time with your family because it will bring you a lot of happiness. Every day, we all get the same 1440 beautiful minutes, which we can spend carefully or not at all. We can't save them, bank them, or save them. We need to use them. Be very careful with them and know how to use them well, and your life will be useful and fun. Learn to be aware of how you spend your valuable 1440 minutes, and then use them or invest them wisely. How do we get ahead? How can we change how we feel or what we think? When our bodies tell us they're hungry, we all know that eating will help. Even though it may seem strange, most people don't know what to do when they are hungry for spiritual, mental, or moral food. Sometimes the answer to mental, spiritual, or moral hunger is not as simple or quick as the answer to physical hunger, but it is always clear. If you ever find yourself on your knees in any part of your life, I promise you that written or recorded words can give you the information and motivation you need to get back up. Whether your mood has gone downhill and you're having harmful thoughts, or whether you are mentally or emotionally down, here's what you can do. You can feed your mind and emotions by being around inspiring people, reading motivational books, or getting lost in good biographies or autobiographies. You can also listen to music or recordings that make you feel good. These things will change your attitude and feelings, which will change how efficient and productive you are. The lesson is clear. If you change what you put in, you will get something different out. Listen to, watch, or read something helpful or inspiring for at least 30 minutes, and then share it with people you think could use it. He who knows how to listen not only is popular everywhere, but in time he learns something. Wilson's quote. There is a way for you to be number one. Every day, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, today I am going to do the best I can in whatever I undertake. Then, do what you set out to do. If at the end of the day you didn't succeed, don't worry about it. When you make the most of what you have, you'll find that it's more than enough to reach your goals. You'll also find that the more you use what you have, the more of it you'll get. Remember that I can't and I will try never get you anywhere, but I'll do it always does. Just remember that happiness doesn't depend on who you are or what you have. It depends on how you use it. Visualize success, boost your self-confidence, and make your accomplishments bigger and bigger. Assuming that everyone knows that self-confidence is a key trait for anyone who wants to be successful, the question is where this confidence comes from. Why are some people full of confidence while others are scared to death of not believing in their own abilities? The truth is that self-confidence and success go in cycles. Confidence derives from success and breeds more success, while success in turn breeds confidence. One might think, according to this explanation, that the circle of success is something like the old question of which comes first, the chicken or the egg. And how do we get into that cycle? The answer is simple. If you want to become more confident, you must look at the small successes you have achieved in your life and nurture the images and feelings that those triumphs have given you. Forget about the defeats and failures that we all experience. It is true that you learn something from failures. But once you have learned those lessons, forget about the defeats and keep thinking about the triumphs you have had in your life, contemplating them and nurturing them. You will be nourished by those successes, and your confidence will grow, allowing you to achieve greater successes. Visualize your past triumphs while visualizing and anticipating future victories. Planting the seed of positive expectation in your mind is the best way to reap positive fruit in the future. Write down your 5 or 10 biggest wins, think about them, and feel the great joy you felt when you achieved them. Then, think about what you want to accomplish and get to work on it. Stay patient, and the victory will come to you. God answers our prayers in very interesting ways. God asked Moses, "What is that in your hand?" Moses replied, "A rod." The Lord then told Moses, "I will use the rod that is in your hand to save the Israelites." And I know what some people say: if I had the money that Rockefeller has, the voice of a singer, or the intelligence of Einstein, what things would I not do for the Lord? It's very easy to put an end to this kind of thinking. If you're not using what you already have, you won't use what you don't have. What do you have right now that you can use right away? Use your skills the way God would want you to use them, and make the best of what you have and where you are right now. Instead of thinking you can do someone else's craft better than he can, try doing your own craft better. Jesus says in Matthew 7:7, part of the Sermon on the Mount, "Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you." Know what you need and ask God for it. A big problem with prayer is not God, but the person praying. Write down what you want to talk to God about. If it is right and good, He will open the door and give it to you. Decision, action, and persistence. Teresa Bloomingdale said she never saw tragedies. In 1975, a tornado destroyed her house, but she and 9 of her children were safe in the basement. When the storm was over, her first thought was, "We were going to move anyway. Now I won't have to pack anything." Now that's an optimist. She thought back and said, "At home, I had 2 dogs and 3 preschoolers. I would write at the dining room table with one baby on my lap and another barely crawling between my legs, because if I let him out, I would wreck the house." Teresa wrote whenever she had time. After many rejections, she sold her first article for $10. They only used 1 paragraph of the 3,000 words she sent, but she kept writing. In 1977, her first book came out. In 1982, she was accepted as a contributor to Macaulay's magazine, and soon after, Doubleday Publishing signed her to a $200,000 deal. Teresa Bloomingdale couldn't stop a tornado, but the tornado couldn't stop her determination to succeed. No matter how small the steps are, go ahead and take them. They will lead you to your goals. Don't give up, but if you have to, work like a vision. Overcoming obstacles. David W. Hartman of Philadelphia became blind at the age of 8. He wanted to become a doctor, but when he applied to Temple University School of Medicine, he was told that no sighted person had ever taken the course. David resolved to give it a try. He enrolled in the faculty at Temple and was immediately presented with a seemingly insurmountable obstacle: textbooks. There were no medical textbooks in Braille, the sign system used by the blind to read and write, because there had never been a need for them. Clearly, making Braille texts for a single student was not economically feasible. So David appealed to the Recording Organization for the Blind and had over 25 complete texts recorded for his personal use. At the age of 27, David W. Hartman graduated as a physician, the first blind person to complete the course in medical school. It so often happens that our goals are too low, our thinking too negative, our vision too limited. What do you really seek in life? Is your goal or ideal as impossible as that blind 8-year-old boy who wanted to become a doctor and succeeded? Set aside your limitations imposed by destructive thinking. Set your aim and aim higher. As long as you don't try, as long as you don't test, you won't know how much you are capable of. Have faith in yourself. What others think doesn't matter. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Here's an example of how to become what you want to be. He wrote for 9 years before a publisher would accept one of his books, or a magazine would take one of his articles. He was George Bernard Shaw, and he was never discouraged. That's why he became one of the world's greatest writers. If you have listened to one of my previous audios, you will know that I am very enthusiastic about perseverance. In most of the audios, I try to remind people of the importance of perseverance. I'm afraid that in our society, we have become very accustomed to the instantaneous. We have instant mashed potatoes, instant noodles, instant chicken, instant tea, instant coffee, and so much more. On top of all this, we expect to achieve instant success. But that will hardly, if at all, be the case. Whoever wants to succeed in life has to learn to persevere, and in what way can he do so? It cannot be easily condensed into a simple statement, but of one thing you can be sure, and that is that you have to define your purpose. Only those who know exactly where they are going and why they want to get there can keep getting up after the falls and trying again. George Bernard Shaw had a definite purpose, and that is why he struggled on for 9 whole years before he saw his work published. Decide what you want. Decide how much you are willing to give in return. Set your priorities and get to work. H.L. Hunt. A recent study shows that giving up is an acquired habit. You can learn to be perseverant or consistent as easily as you learn to give up. Biologists and psychologists have been conducting experiments that confirm how powerfully our mental attitude can affect the outcome of our lives. At Johns Hopkins University, researchers have discovered that laboratory animals can learn to give up. If a mouse is held so firmly in hand that no matter how hard it tries, it cannot escape, it will give up the fight against the impossible. If it is then thrown into a tank of water, it will make no effort to swim to shore. He has learned to give up. Although we humans are certainly not mice, we can choose our life habits. Fortunately, we can make an optimistic choice, one of responsibility and hope. We can develop the habit of not giving up. We can program our mind and heart to always go forward, fighting doubt, pain, and fear. Through this process, we can overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. In fact, one of the main messages I wish to convey to you is, hang in there, keep persevering, you will eventually see your goals realized. Genius is the ability to keep working hard, and a king is someone who controls his own emotions, wants, and fears. We can't succeed if we only decide to do something half-heartedly. When things get tough, we won't be able to put in the extra effort that's needed to win. Now, if you are 50 or older, you should know that your most creative years are still ahead of you. Even if you have to retire from a job, you still have a lot of wisdom and experience that is useful in the market. Don't give up, my friend. The best is yet to come. Age shouldn't be a reason to get plastic surgery. It should be a reason to show the world the wrinkles and furrows of experience and the firm lines of character and wisdom. Ralph Barr. You have the best chance of success if you keep going after your goal. Aim at the target and keep shooting. You must have the courage and confidence to keep fighting, even when things seem to have stopped or when problems seem impossible to overcome. Failure is usually the result of not trying hard enough. The worst loss of all is losing enthusiasm.